Let us discuss the next question. This is from the year 2023. With reference to the finance bill and the money bill in the Indian Parliament, consider the following statements. Statement 1. When the Lok Sabha transmits the finance bill to the Rajya Sabha, it can amend or reject the bill. Statement 2. When the Lok Sabha transmits the money bill to the Rajya Sabha, it cannot amend or reject the bill. It can only make recommendations. Statement 3. In case of the disagreement between the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, there is no joint sitting for the money bill, but a joint sitting becomes necessary for the finance bill. How many of the above statements are correct? Statement 2 says, when the Lok Sabha transmits the money bill to the Rajya Sabha, it cannot amend or reject the bill. It can only make recommendations. Yes, the Lok Sabha, when it transmits the money bill, the Rajya Sabha doesn't have any powers to amend or reject the money bill. It can only make recommendations to the money bill, and the Lok Sabha can either accept the recommendations or not accept the recommendations. This statement is clearly correct. Because of the wordings of this question, there is confusion with respect to the correct answer, and these questions become where you can have different perspectives on how you try to understand the meaning. Ultimately, what the teachers initially thought the answer key is and what the answer key later on released by UPSC, they both were different. We'll see what it is. Statement 1 says, when the Lok Sabha transmits the finance bill to the Rajya Sabha, it can amend or reject the bill. When we say finance bill, the finance bill is introduced as a part of the budget. So we have two bills as a part of the budget, that is the finance bill and the appropriation bill. For both the bills, for the finance bill and the appropriation bill, the speaker will certify them as a money bill. And the constitution clearly says that if the speaker of the house, if the speaker of the Lok Sabha, if he or she clearly certifies a bill as a money bill, in that case, it will be declared as a money bill. And the Lok Sabha will get more advantageous powers than the Rajya Sabha. So normally the process is that the finance bill and the appropriation bill both will be declared as money bill. So when they are declared as money bill, when the Lok Sabha transmits the finance bill to the Rajya Sabha, it can amend or reject the bill. Because now it will be declared as a money bill, the Rajya Sabha cannot amend or declare that particular bill. In that case, it becomes incorrect. And statement 3, in case of disagreement between the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, there is no provision for joint sitting for the money bill, but joint sitting becomes necessary for the finance bill. Here again, finance bill will be considered as a money bill by this perspective. In that case also, there is no provision for the joint sitting for the money bill, and because here finance bill is also type of a money bill, so there is no provision for joint sitting even for the finance bill. So this statement also becomes incorrect, and the answer will be only 1. But the problem here is UPSC gave the answer as 2 as correct, only 2 as correct. Probably the interpretation that UPSC would have gone and taken is, we have 3 different types of bill which deal with the money matters. One is the money bill for all the items which are there in the article 110, for all the items which are related to the provisions of items which are there in the 110, article 110, those will be considered as the money bill. And few of the items which are overlapping with the items mentioned in the article 110, but apart from the money matters, they also discuss about some other additional matters. In that case, those bills will be declared as financial bills type 1. And if the discussion is with respect to the money matters, but those are not with respect to what is mentioned in the article 110, so it is not about the items mentioned in article 110, but it is talking about some money matters, then it will be declared as financial bill type 2. So here if you consider this finance bill as financial bill type 1, in that case the financial bill type 1, for most of the cases it has the same procedure as the ordinary legislation, except that it has to be introduced in the Lok Sabha and President has to certify it. All the other process when it comes to passing of the bill and joint sitting, all those provisions will apply to it. So in that case, with that perspective, if you look at the question, then it says, When the Lok Sabha transmits the finance bill to the Rajya Sabha, it can amend or reject the bill. Now, because this is considered as a finance bill type 1, in that case, the Rajya Sabha does have the power to amend or reject the bill. In that case, this statement becomes correct. And statement 2, Lok Sabha transmits the money bill, it cannot amend or reject the bill. This anyway is correct. The Lok Sabha cannot amend or reject the money bill. It can only make recommendations. Statement 3, in case of disagreement between the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, there is no joint sitting for the money bill. Yes, correct. But joint sitting becomes necessary for the finance bill. Here the keyword is probably necessary, which is considered as by UPSC. For the money bill, there is no provision of joint sitting, but for the finance bill type 1, the joint sitting can take place, but because it is dealt as a ordinary bill for all other cases. So here the joint sitting is necessary for the finance bill would have been a correct option, because here the word mentioned is necessary. It becomes the wrong option. If it can say that the president can have the joint sitting, in that case the answer would have been correct. Because the word mentioned here is necessary to have a joint sitting, it becomes wrong, and this statement here becomes incorrect. With this perspective, where we look at this finance bill as the finance bill type 1, in that case we have 1 and 2 as correct option and 3 as wrong, because it says it is necessary to have a joint sitting, it becomes incorrect. But if the statement would have said that the joint sitting can be held for the finance bill, then it would have been correct answer. Anyways, with this perspective, statement 1 and 2 are correct and statement 3 is incorrect. So in that case, we will have B, only 2 as the correct answer for this question. So this question, don't worry too much about it. Once in a while we have questions where the wordings are not very clear or the wordings are vague. So move on.